I want to say a little bit about religion in general. It surprises some students when I say, because it doesn't match what they expect, that when I say that this is not a course in ancient Greek religion. This is a course in mythology. We'll be talking primarily about the myths that come to us out of ancient Greece. We'll bring in some others as well. But I'm not going to say very much about Greek religion. It will come up for 1 week. We'll spend 1 week on religious movements in Greece. There'll be references to Greek religion occasionally. And of course, there's a connection between mythology and religion. Okay. But the focus won't be on religion. That's not because I'm not interested in religion, or that I'm scared to talk about religion, or that, there's a state college and we can't talk about religion. We can talk about religion all we want to. That's what the First Amendment is about. We do offer many courses in religion here at CF. I teach the course in Old Testament and New Testament, comparative religion, church and state issues, and so it's not a forbidden topic. It just really doesn't fit into a course in mythology. I'm a religious person myself. I'm a Christian pastor. I'm an Anglican priest. I assist at a church up in Gainesville on the weekends. I say that's my weekend job. This is my work week job. That's my work. But I say that right. That's my weekend job. This is my work week job. So I'm not scared to talk about religion, but we just don't talk about it very much in this course. But I do want to take some time and talk about the development of religion just a little bit, and give you the standard theory here, okay? Which I think there might be some evidence for. I'll get to that at the end of the presentation. But first, let's just understand the theory. This particular theory starts off with a concept called animism. Animism means attributing godhood to physical objects or forces. Excuse me. Attributing godhood to physical objects or forces. You've noticed by now that there are lots of big, scary things in the world, okay? Storms are one. The ocean is one. Love is one. Sex is one. There are a lot of big, powerful things, sometimes scary in the universe, okay? Like a storm, all right? Maybe you've gotten caught in a Florida thunderstorm out in the woods maybe, and you weren't prepared for it. They can be kind of scary, okay? The ocean, the ocean actually is my favorite example of a definition of awe, okay? Because the ocean is awesome, in the old-fashioned sense of awesome, which when it actually meant something besides really cool. The ocean is a source of awe, okay? It's incredibly beautiful, and it's incredibly powerful, and it's incredibly scary. If you've ever gotten caught in a riptide, then you know that it's very scary. I got caught in a riptide one time, and I don't really like going to the beach anymore, to be honest. It's a scary, scary experience. It actually happened in Mexico. I was just swimming, just having fun, and all of a sudden just felt dragged out, and tried to deal with it myself, and couldn't, and so I'm trying to swim as hard as I can, and I'm going by the beach and seeing people there, and I kept shouting, "Ayúdame, ayúdame, ayúdame, help me," and they would smile and wave back because they couldn't hear me. And I thought, these nice people, and they're watching me die here. And one guy finally figured out or realized what was going. He got a surfboard and came out, rolled me on the surfboard, and swam me back in. But that's scary. But at the same time, the ocean is so beautiful, and you can go to the ocean, and it's amazingly beautiful and fun. But there's always an element of being kind of scary too, and that's what. Anyway, that's my go-to definition of awe. All right. Well, animism is when you encounter these objects or forces, and you say, and you kind of invent in your head the concept of godhood. You say, storm must be a godhood. Okay. Ocean must be a god. Or maybe a goddess. I'm not being exclusive one way or the other when I'm saying this here. Love must be a god. Okay. Now that's all that animism is. This is where it gets confusing, okay? Because we are familiar with what happens next, okay? And we want to rush ahead to the next one and then look backwards through time at animism. But animism is simply saying the storm must be a god. The next step, and we know this is the next step because there are animistic societies today which have not made this next step, is anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism attributes human characteristics to gods and goddesses. Okay? So, think of it this way. You're the sun, okay? The sun is powerful. It's big. When it comes up in the morning, it casts light. When it goes down, there's darkness. When it comes up, the earth gets warmer. When it goes down, the earth gets cooler. And so let's just say we call the sun, all right? And we say it's a god. This next step, though, imagine this happens. You're out one day working in your field as a farmer, and the sun is just beating down on you, and it is so hot. And you say, I wonder if sun is angry at me. Well, what are we doing now? Now we're attributing human characteristics, anger, to this god. Okay. Now then you get to the next step, which is, how do I make sun happy with me? Well, to do that, you have to have stories about the sun. Okay. Or maybe the storm. You call the storm Stormy McStormface, and you come up with stories about the sun. Or a very powerful object in every classroom at CF is hangs on the wall. It's a clock. When it gets to a certain point of the day, everybody in the whole room gets happy because class is over. Clocks tell us when to get up, when to go to sleep, when to eat, all that kind of stuff. So clocks are important. So if once we make this jump to anthropomorphism, then we have to come up with stories about the clock. Maybe we call the clock Clockzilla. And Clockzilla came from Tokyo. And his favorite thing to drink is orange juice. And when he got to the United States, he swam to the United States and he got to San Diego. Okay? So maybe we can exercise power over Clockzilla. If every year somebody gathers, we go to San Diego, we take orange juice and pour it in the ocean and sing a song about Clockzilla. Maybe time will go faster for us. Or whatever. Silly concept, but hey, all these stories are silly. Okay. Now, a couple of things here. There is evidence of this, all right? Because the Greeks and the Romans, I mentioned to you earlier in this unit that the Romans will adopt the Greek gods. When the Romans and the Greeks met each other, they'd been around as long as each other had been, but the Romans only had an animistic idea of gods, okay? The Greeks had this anthropomorphic idea of God. And the Romans heard stories about the Greek gods, and actually the Greeks would come to the Romans and say, tell us stories about your gods. And the Romans said, we don't have any stories about our gods. What do you mean? Why would I tell a story about storm? Why would I tell a story about sun? And the Greeks would tell them their stories, and the Romans said, oh wow, your gods are really cool. And so they told their gods to... they asked the Greek gods to come over and be their gods. That's why in Roman stories, but really in Greek stories as well, I'll give you an example of that later in the next unit, sometimes you have two sun gods. One who is animistic and doesn't do anything, doesn't have any stories to tell about him, and one god who is anthropomorphic. There are two gods, two sun gods, for example. One who has human characteristics and one who doesn't. Now, when I say that this, in fact, you can go to animistic societies today and ask people, do you pray to your God? And they say, well, we don't. Why would we pray to our gods? It doesn't make any sense. You offer sacrifices to your gods, and they are completely befuddled because well, they never have ascribed human characteristics to their gods and goddesses. Now, I'm not saying that this is a good thing. In fact, given a choice between living in an animistic society or anthropomorphic society, I would rather not live in either one of them, okay? But if I did, I'd much rather, I think, live in a animistic society. Because when we attribute human characteristics to the gods, some of those characteristics are evil, okay? And they're bad. And the gods can become role models of evil for us. And I don't think that's a good idea. And so, I'm not sure it's a good thing at all. But, well, we're going to be seeing evidence of this. I'm going to argue at least that we do in the course off and on as we go through. That's going to summarize, or not summarize, what I'm trying to say, conclude. That's going to conclude the lecture portion of this week's unit. You've got some smaller videos to look at and watch and think about. And so stay safe.